Hello everyone and welcome to our video presentation. We are the Group 5 and today we will be discussing the constructivism approach. So for this video, we divided it into 4 parts. So first, we have the introduction of constructivism, which will be discussed by me. Second is Jean Piaget's cognitive constructivism. Third is Lev Vygotsky's social constructivism. And last, we have the Albert Bandura social learning theory. So now, let's proceed to our discussion. So, do you believe that knowledge isn't just about observing information like a vacuum cleaner? If your answer is yes, well, that's correct. Because we individuals are the one who build our own knowledge based on our own experiences and our own interaction with the world, with our classmates, with our peers, with our environment. Okay? And that is the essence of constructivism. We build our own knowledge through interaction and our own experiences. So, that meaning is anchored to the two most influential psychologists, which are Jean Piaget and Lev Vygotsky. And that two psychologists propose a two different perspective about learning. First, we have the cognitive constructivism, which was proposed by Sir Jean Piaget, and the second is the social constructivism, which was proposed by Lev Vygotsky. Okay, so let's talk about the individual constructivism or cognitive constructivism. So, Sir Jean Piaget observes that learners learn by their own experiences through the process of assimilation and accommodation. So, that process will be further be discussed by the next presenter. So, he believed that we learn with our own experiences and without the help of others. However, Sir Lev Vygotsky believed that learning will be more effective when we interact with one another, with the significant other, with our classmates, our peers, and etc. Therefore, the meaning of constructivism, in which tells here that constructivism advocates learners to build knowledge out of their experiences and ideas. This knowledge is then shared and enhanced through interaction with significant others. So see, it's a combination of the two perspectives. In addition to that, Soto believed that learners are the one who is responsible for their own learning, and teachers' role is only to facilitate them. Therefore, learners are given opportunity to work individually and collectively. Furthermore, Lev, Wenger, and Duffy strengthen the idea of constructivism, which they state that learning does not only depend on cognitive processes, but also social interactions and community engagement and other learning processes in a contextualized learning. So now let's move on to the beliefs of constructivism. And here we have 3, and that are: first, society and culture affect learning. Second, learning involves community engagement. And last, social interaction is equally important because of the characteristics of learners as social learner. So that's all, and let's proceed to the next presenter.
Good day everyone. Now let's proceed to Jean Piaget, cognitive constructivism. Jean Piaget, philosopher from Switzerland, a natural scientist, famous for his work on child development. Genetic epistemology, which is cognitive development, and epistemology view. Jean Piaget in cognitive constructivism, this theory stresses that learners take active in understanding, creating, and making sense of information in terms of developmental stages, developmental skills, and also the learning styles. It means that Piaget's theory of constructivism impacts learning curriculum because teachers have to make a curriculum plan which enhance their students' logical growth and conceptual growth. Teachers must put emphasis on the significance growth that experience or connection with adjoining atmosphere play in student education. In PJ, it argues that people produce knowledge and for meaning based upon experiences. In simply term, knowledge is equal to experiences. The following are the major considerations when applying to this theory. First, there are things that learners can and cannot understand at different ages. Second, learners development cognitive abilities through developmental stages. PJ proposed that children's cognitive abilities develop in a series of stages, each characterized by different types of thinking and understanding. These stages are sensory motor stage, 0 to 2 years old, pre-operational stage, 2 to 7 years old, concrete operational stage, 7 to 11 years old, and formal operational stage, 11 years old. PJ theory suggests that cognitive abilities develop in a specific order, and each stage builds upon the previous one. Therefore, there are certain concepts and types of reasoning that are beyond the cognitive abilities of children in earlier stage. For example, a child in the pre-operational stage may not be able to understand complex abstract ideas which are more suited to someone in the formal operational stage. This concept underscores the importance of age-appropriate learning experiences that match the learner's developmental stage. We have learners fit in new experiences into their existing schema or tinatawag nating assimilations. When we say schema, it is the prior knowledge. Assimilation means that all the experiences plus the new experiences is equals to new outlook of a knowledge. Pag sinabi nating assimilation, nadadagdagan yung mga kaalaman ng mga bata. For example, nakita ang bata ng isang green na mangga. And then, nakita naman siya ng isang mangga pero dilaw. Ngayon magtataka siya kung ano yung pinagkaiba ng dalawang yon. And then, marirealize niya, madadagdagan yung kaalaman niya na kapag pala ang mangga ay hilaw, kulay green ito. Pero kapag ito'y nahinog na, magiging kulay dilaw yon. So yon, nadadagdagan yung kaalaman o knowledge ng isang bata. Kapag naman sinabi nating accommodation, dito may natatanggal na kaalaman. For example, nakita ng ang isang bata ng aso, and usually ang alam nila kapag aso is 4 ang paa at mabalahibo, and then in the next day nakita sila ng pusa. Naniisipin nila na yung pusa ay aso kasi nga it has 4 legs and mabalahibo din. And then matatanggal yung kaalaman nila na hindi pala lahat ng 4 ang paa at mabalahibo ay aso kundi pusa rin.
In discussion about cognitive development, it is essential to also include the elements that influence learners' cognitive. According to Eliot, 2007, such as cognitive development refers to the process by which individuals acquire and improve their thinking, problem-solving, and understanding ability. Ang cognitive development ay tumutukoy sa proseso kung saan unti-unting nag-i-improve ang kakayahan ng isang tao, katulad na lang sa pag-iisip, pag-solve ng problem, at pag-intindi. According to Eliot, 2007, number 1. Maturation occurs naturally as learners grow older. Natural na nangyayari ang maturation habang tumatanda ang mga mag-aaral. Ang maturation, natural na proseso kung saan ang mga mag-aaral ay nagiging mature o nagkakaroon ng pag-i-improve. Habang tumatanda, nangyayari ito ng kusa. Number 2. As learners grow, development, and mature, there is greater interaction with their environment, allowing them to learn from their action and modify their predetermined ideas. Dito sa number 2, habang ang isang tao ay nag-grow at mas nagiging mature, mas marami silang pagkakataon na makipag-interact o kaya makihalubilo sa mga tao kapag kasi nakipag-interact o nakikihalubilo ang isang tao, mas marami silang pagkakataon na makipag-interact o makihalubilo sa mga tao. Sa pakikipag-interact kasi, natututo ang isang tao mula sa kanilang karanasan at sa aksyon. Tapos nababago rin yung unang pananaw nila. For example, kapag may mga bagay na silang gustong subukan o gawin, kumbaga nagiging interesado na sila. Nagiging interesado na sila dun sa bago nilang natutunan na impormasyon. Number 3, the process of learning from others depends on the learner's developmental stages and learning styles to develop their learning ability. Eliot, ang pagkatuto ng mga mag-aaral ay nakadepende pa rin sa kanilang galing o kakayahan at kung paano nila natutunan ang mga bagay sa sariling paraan. Ang social transmission ay natututo ang mga mag-aaral o ang isang tao sa pamamagitan ng pakikipag-interact sa iba, tulad ng guro, magulang, at kapwa mag-aaral.
Lev Simonovich Vygotsky, Social Constructivism. Okay, ang pag-uusapan naman ngayon ay ang tungkol sa social constructivism ni Lev Vygotsky. Mga ma'am, sir, madalas kung ano yung term, ganun na din siya. For example, social constructivism, andyan yung social, andyan yung constructivism. Pag sinabi nating social, ito yung interaction ng mga social being. Constructivism, construction of knowledge, meaning social constructivism, ito yung construction of knowledge na nangyayari sa isang social context o social interaction. Sabi nga ni Lev Vygotsky, kailangan ang social interaction, kailangan yung socialization para mangyari ang pagkatuto ng mga estudyante. Okay, kaya nga sabi ni Lev Vygotsky, learning happen in a social context. Sa social constructivism ni Lev Vygotsky, meron na 4 na konsepto. Andiyan ang Zone of Proximal Development o CPD and Scaffold or SF, Social Interaction SI, More Knowledgeable Other MKO. Pag sinabi nating Zone of Proximal Development o CPD, it refers to the gap between actual and potential development. Actual development is what learners can do on their own. Potential development is what learners do with help. Ang CPD, ito yung agwat ng estudyante sa kaya niyang gawing mag-isa at kung ano yung kaya niyang gawin sa tulong ng isang teacher o ng magulang. In short, yung mga nakakatanda na makakatulong sa pag-develop ng kakayahan ng isang student. It is a confident assistant extended to the learners as they can begin the journey of learning. These scaffolds called be circumvented once learners have learned already. Sabi dito, ang scaffolds, ito yung mga tulong na ibibigay sa mga students upang matulungan silang matuto. Ito yung mga maaring maging gabay nila sa paraan ng pagkatuto at para mas mapadali ang kanilang pagkatuto. Social interaction o SI, it refers to the frequent interaction of learners with other people that influence learning. Ang social interaction o ang SI ay ang pakikipag-ugnayan ng mga students sa iba pang tao tulad ng teacher, parents, friends, at iba pa. Ang pakikipag-social interaction, ito yung pinakamahalaga sa pag-aaral sapagkat nagbibigay ito ng mga pagkakataon para sa mga student na magbahagi ng kanilang mga idea at mas matuto sila sa karanasan pa ng ibang tao. Okay, next, more knowledgeable other or MKO. It refers to significant others that learners look for when into ones who have granted knowledge than the learners. So, sinasabi dyan sa more knowledgeable others or MKO, pag sinabi nating MKO, ito yung mga taong may mas malawak na kaalaman at kasanayan kaysa sa mga estudyante. Ito yung katulad na lang ng teacher or yung parents. Ang MKO ay mahalaga sa pag-aaral sapagkat nagbibigay sila ng gabay, suporta at inspirasyon sa mga bata.
So our next topic is about the Churi of Bandura This is social learning theory or known as Bobo or the Bobo doll. This social learning theory is known as Bobo doll. Bandura used a inflatable doll to represent a model. So in this experiment, Bandura gathered a different children to observe a Bobo doll. So in this experiment, Bandura divided into 3 categories, which are the aggressive model, non-aggressive model, and control group. So here in aggressive model, pinapakita dito sa model na to na yung inflatable doll or yung Bobo doll is aggressively attack or sinasaktan nila yon, sinisipa, or parang sinasabihan ng mga sasamang words. And dito naman sa non-aggressive model is dito sa non-aggressive model is pinapakita ng model dito sa mga bata na the Bobo doll treat nicely or parang nakikipaglaro lang sila dito kasama yung mga ibang laruan or parang ini-ignore lang niya yung Bobo doll. And dito naman sa control group is totally ini-ignore niya yung Bobo doll or parang nakapokus lang siya doon sa mga laruan. After this observation or after makapag-observe ng mga bata doon sa 3 categories is pinapunta sila sa isang kwarto including the Bobo dolls. So after for a while or makalipas lang yung ilang minuto, yung mga batang nakapag-observe dun sa aggressive model is ginaya nila kung ano yung na-observe nila dun sa model. So dito sa aggressive model is kung ano yung na-observe ng mga bata na ipinakita ng model dun sa aggressive is ginaya nila. And katulad din dun sa non-aggressive model na yung model is treat niya ng tama or nakikipaglaro lang siya doon sa Bobo doll. Ganun din ginawa ng mga bata kasi nga ganun yung na-observe nila na ipinakita ng model. Well, on the other hand naman doon sa control group is totally hindi niya pinapansin or ini-ignore niya lang yung Bobo doll. So kung ano yung nakita nung observant or nung learners doon sa pinakita ng model is ganun din yung ginawa nila doon sa kwarto na nandoon yung Bobo doll. So dito sa theory na to, pinapakita lang na kung ano yung na-observe mo dun sa isang bagay is na-apply mo sa real life situation mo. Kagaya nung na-observe ng mga bata dun sa 3 categories na kasama nila yung Bobo doll. Nung pinapunta sila dun sa isang kwarto na nandoon yung Bobo doll, kung ano yung na-observe nila dun sa pinakita ng model na ginagawa dun sa Bobo doll is parang in-apply nila sa sarili nila kasi nga ganun yung na-observe nila. So meaning to say, nakaka-gain tayo ng knowledge by observing kung ano yung na-observe natin. So next is, according to Bandura, models are classified into 4 categories, which are the direct or real-life modeling. Next is symbolic modeling. Next is synthesized modeling. Lastly, the abstract modeling. So for the real life or direct modeling, in these types of model, learners learns by observing others or including the peers, teachers, friends, or any individuals na nakakasalamuha nila. Like for example, a young children observe his parents using the polite words, please and thank you. So, pagkatapos nun, the children begins then to imitate kung ano yung ginawa ng kanyang parents. Then, yung bata is, kapag nakikisalamuhan na rin siya sa iba, gaya ng natutunan niya sa magulang niya na gumagamit ng mga politely phrases is, ginagamit na rin niya to. So, next is, pangalawa is symbolic modeling. So, dito sa symbolic modeling, learners imitating behavior from various forms such as books, televisions, news, and even sa mga kwento or sa stories. So like for example, children watch a superhero. So diba, yung superhero is tumutulong siya sa mga nangangailangan. So after nung bata or children na manood kung ano yung ginagawa ng superhero, is gusto na rin niyang i-apply sa kanyang buhay. So next is synthesized modeling. So here in synthesized modeling, learners develop behaviors by combining a different portions or actions. Example, a young athlete observes a different professional athlete excelling sa iba't ibang sports nila. Like for example, sa basketball, yung isang player is magaling siyang mag-dribble. And then yung isang player naman is magaling siyang mag-shoot ng bola. So, as observant, parang naisip mo na combine mo yung mga skills na yun para makabuo ng panibagong skills. Like for example, yung magaling mag-dribble at magaling mag-shoot is i-apply mo sa sarili mo yun para makabuo ka ng panibagong skills sa sarili mo. Lastly, the abstract modeling. So here in abstract modeling, learners inferring a system of rules or principles by observing examples where these rules are displayed. For example, sa cooking show. So yung observant is pinapanood niya yung model na nagluluto ng fried rice. So alam naman natin, sa fried rice is kailangan may bawang. So after mapanood ng observant yung model na nagagawa ng fried rice, palalaman niya na kapag magluluto na siya ng fried rice, gagamit na rin siya ng bawang. So I guess that's it. Thank you. I hope you understand.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Eric. So now, proceed naman po tayo sa second subtopic, which is the concept in social learning theory according to Albert Bandura. So meron po tayong tinatawag na two concept, which is the vicarious learning and the self-regulated learning. So first, let's discuss muna yung pinakauna, which is the vicarious learning. So according to this, learning is acquired from observing the consequences of others' behavior. So, dito po kasi kapag sinabi po kasi natin vicarious learning, yung mga learners is hindi sila directly natututo. Hindi nila directly natututo yung learning na dapat nilang matutunan. So, may nabanggit dito kanina na observing. So, natututo sila through observing others. Doon nila ino-obserbahan kung ano yung mga possible consequences or outcomes ng mga behavior na ginagawa nila. So, kabaliktaran naman siya nitong pangalawang concept, which is the self-regulated learning. So, dito kasi sa self-regulated learning, yung learning is directly siyang natututunan ng learners. So, basahin ko muna. So, for self-regulated learning, learning occurs when learners observe, assess, and judge their own behavior against their own standard. Subsequently, they reward themselves when successful or punish themselves when they fail. So, dito kasi sa self-regulated, since sila mismo yung nakaka-experience ng behavior na yun, so kaya nilang i-assess sa sarili nila kung pumasok ba yun doon sa standard na gusto nila. So, dito ina-assess nila kung ano yung possible na maging outcomes ng kanilang behavior. So, if success yung behavior na yun and naka-receive siya ng positive outcome, then there is a possibilities na bigyan nila ng reward ng sarili nila. While, if it fails naman, then there is also positive na they will punish themselves. So, nakadepende yun kung ano yung magiging decision ng learners na yun. Dako naman po tayo sa four phases of observational learning according to Bandura. So, there are four phases. Number one is the attention. Second one, the retention. Third one is the motor reproduction process. And lastly is the motivational process. So, the first one is the attention. So, basahan ko lang. So, attention. This phase requires learners to initially pay attention to be able to observe fully the distinctive features of the motor's behavior. So, dito kasi sa attention, in order for the learners to have a motor's behavior, kinakailangan na humanap muna siya ng role model na makakakuha ng kanyang interes. So, kapag nakuha na yung interest niya, then, kinakailangan niya na pagtuunan niya ng pansin para yung behavior ng taong yun is ma-store niya sa utak niya. So, yung information na nakuha niya is kailangan matandaan niya. So, dito papasok yung tinatawag na retention. So, sabi dito, retention. This phase allows learners to retain or recall the observed behavior. So, in order kasi na ma-imitate ng learners yung behavior na yun, kinakailangan na ma-retain niya or ma-recall niya yung information. So, the learners must retain or recall and store the information that has been transmitted to him. So, if he cannot do it, then there is a possibility that only limited learning will take place. So, okay. So, dako naman po tayo sa third phases, which is the motor reproduction process. So, according to this phase entails physical skills and coordination because they are needed for imitation of the learned behavior. So, dito kasi sa motor reproduction process, simply storing the information does not necessarily imply that the learners can do it successfully. So, madami kasi mga factors na pwede maka-apekto or makalimit kumaga para ma-imitate ng learners yung behavior na yun. So, what are the factors? So, some example is the physical state and the mental state. So, it is important na matutunan ng learners kung ano nga ba yung tamang imitation process or yung learning process. So, dako tayo sa last phase, which is the motivational process. So, according to this, motivational process is a phase causes learners to explicitly perform the model behavior to receive a favorable condition. So, sabi dito, a favorable condition. So, dito kasi sa motivational process, we are referring about the possible rewards or prizes na pwedeng ma-receive ng learners. So, dito nangyayari yung mga reward and punishment. Nakadepende yon sa kakalabasan ng mga behavior nila, whether it is success or a failure. So, if the learners think that yung behavior niya is naka-receive naman ng positive outcome, then there is a possibilities na rewardan niya yung sarili niya. So, ano-ano nga ba yung mga possible na reward? So, for children kasi, yung mga possible reward na pwede nilang matanggap is praises or yung mga papuri galing sa mga nakakatanda or sa mga nakapaligid nila. Or minsan naman yung mga reward na nare-receive nila is something sweet. Mga pagkain like candy, ice cream, basta something sweet. So for adults naman, yung prizes or rewards na pwede naman nilang ma-receive is they might think about something promotion. And also, praises din galing siguro sa boss nila, sa kaibigan, sa pamilya, or something. And also, yung possible din na reward na ma-receive nila is having a good relationship with someone or something. So, yun po yung 4 phases of observational learning according to Albert Bandura.